scared the shit out of me. Oh, 4:30 in the morning after steak night. Time to go for a run. This is gonna suck. Steak night was a blast. Had a great time. Shout out to Mike. Can't wait for the next one. But man, going for a run after that, I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of running, I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram or Snapchat stories. I was running up and down my street here in Pomona. So I'll flip the camera around. I was running up and down this street. It's pretty hard, by most accounts. So I'm not gonna be doing that anymore, and instead I'm gonna go run in a parking lot that's brightly lit. I don't want to die. Let's go. Whew, all right, made it out here. Much, you can see, safer area to run, I suppose. I started running, working out this week, and I mean, if you're gonna get up every morning and be dedicated to doing it, I guess, steak night can't stand in the way. But also, you can't skip steak night. Like, that's the best night of the week. So, running doesn't sound great, but let's get it done. All right. Done with the run. That was about a mile. It's about 0.3 from one end all the way to the other. I feel glad, just having done it after steak night. I mean, not to mention that, I don't exercise. Just to force myself to get up and go for it feels pretty good. Not gonna lie. All right, let's head home. Okay, today I did want to talk a little bit about the stick figure world story. So obviously when it comes to story, my favorites all time, I love Star Wars and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and these kind of fantasy adventures, When it comes to television, I love Friends and The Office, Parks and Rec, Boy Meets World. And I think, one of the things that's really kind of stuck with me lately is the innovations of like Marvel's cinematic universe. Love it. What they've been up to and what they've been able to accomplish, I admire a lot. And even though I don't think every one of their movies is like a grade A film, like perfect, what they've been able to create and contribute to the larger overall product has been amazing. So when I'm creating this stick figure world, what I want to do is create a place where these three stories, fantasy, sitcom, and the like military, army men type story, all coexist. So, and there's a bit of a through line that kind of carries them all together. So let me go ahead and describe the premises to you for this story, and then in a different vlog I'll kind of get into the characters. So if we go ahead and start off with the big picture, okay? What we're looking at is eventually I want all three of these stories to kind of converge into like a big event video. So, kind of, you think the Avengers, right? That same type of model. Now, what I'm inspired by is a story that Matt Hellison actually shared with me years ago. And it's a story called The Aleph. And if you've never read it, it's a really, really short read. But essentially, it's an orb that is all-seeing. And the person who looks into the orb can see anything in space or time, right? It makes them incredibly, incredibly powerful. So the plan is to have this kind of, MacGuffin, this object that, people are after. And what happens is, in the fantasy story, okay, there's a set of characters they're essentially like a guard, and they're protecting a castle, which this castle houses, it's you think kind of like a portal prison for one of the most powerful beings of all time. So their job is to make sure that this person either never escapes or is never broken out. Now, the goal of the person who is locked up is to take over this fantasy world, right, within this story. And as legend has it, this person knows about the Aleph. So using a series of, portals and like interdimensional travel, they will be attempting to get the Aleph. Now, I don't think I'll call it that. The idea being like, the all-seeing eye from Lord of the Rings type deal, or even, you look at the MCU and you have the Infinity Stones and, it's just powerful things. So when you move over to the sitcom, right? The sitcom is about a young guy and his former stepbrother who are moving in together, and essentially what has happened is they want to start a video game clan or a team, right? And their goal is to make it as esports professionals, and it kind of follows their journey, being roommates, kind of figuring out adulthood. Obviously there's family and friends, and then of course their careers and trying to figure all that out. Well, flip it over to the military script, and we're following a caravan through the desert. And this caravan is actually protecting, or it's, carrying a kind of unknown item. The soldiers don't know what it is, but they have to get it through this desert to this base in order to secure the cargo. Now, the interesting thing, and this is where it all connects, is the cargo that they're actually transporting is a... So this is where they all connect, okay? The Aleph, the orb itself, is located to control this ultra powerful thing and then take over this, fantasy world. Well, one of the main character in the sitcom, I guess, his brother is actually... And so at some point, these stories will converge. And you can kind of imagine, where people's skill sets might factor in and how that will all work. Obviously, in the fantasy world, the world that I'm fleshing out, there's, more than just the castle, and these characters are using, like, portal teleportation, they're using energy powers. In the sitcom, you're going to have them playing video games that are first-person shooter. They might be spaceships. They might be, any sorts of puzzle, Zelda style, like, puzzle-solving games. And then you have the military guys, which are incredibly well-skilled in a variety of different, kind of avenues. And once, the threat is real, you'll see how all of these stories kind of combine. And that's essentially the premise. That's where I'm at. And right now, as like I mentioned, I'll get into the characters soon enough. And the characters are really where any story is made, right? A premise is just a premise. It's kind of like you know, anybody can just be after an item, right? But what makes the stories so great is the characters, and that's what I'm fleshing out now. I'm giving them, you know, desires. I'm giving them wants and needs, and figuring out, you know, who each of these people are, and kind of how I can really challenge them through choice and hard decision making to test their character and see where this story kind of pans out. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, like I said, I've been doing a lot of world building in the background, and I don't want to get into all those details. That's something that you'll have to catch when you actually watch the show. But the world building itself has been a lot of fun, and it's really unique, you know, kind of creating these rules and how things work, and where things are and how they got there, and all of that. So it's been fun, very creative, obviously, and I look forward to kind of like diving into the story. I hope I didn't give away too much, but it will be building to something. So you know, if you get a chance to check out that short story, I would recommend it. Otherwise, stay tuned. I think the characters will be fun, the stories will be fun, and it should be pretty awesome. So, thank you guys. Let me know what you think. If this sounds, you know, completely stupid, well, I'm probably going to do it anyway, but feel free to let me know. Maybe, you know, you might inspire me through negativity, I guess. But if it's something that you're interested in or looking forward to, stand by, because I'm actually creating these stories and they're coming. So it's going to be good. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh, and real quick before I go, I'm going to share some test footage. I've been kind of messing around with a couple filters, like, you know, changing some of the footage into like a comic style filter or whatever. And I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on it. I think it's a little too blurry, but it was interesting. It was fun to try out. So let me know what you think. I'll play it right